57 years ago, Harvard professor Henry Kissinger came on Face the Nation to talk about a new book. Well, he has another new one, World Order. It's his 17th. And when we asked him about the threat from ISIS when he stopped by earlier, he said we should have already hit them hard. So you're talking about a massive response, not hitting one target, but hitting as many as possible.
I think when an American is murdered on television for the purpose of terrorizing Americans, there should be a response that you would not analyze in terms of a normal response to provocation. So something has to crystallize out of this violence, and it won't happen without our leadership. We cannot do it all by ourselves, but we can make clear that certain tactics will be strongly resisted.
I want to ask you about Russia. Has the Obama administration talked to you or sought your advice on Russia? Because to my way of thinking, nobody probably knows Putin as well as you do.
It depends how you define the Obama administration. Until very recently, I have had no conversation, even with the security advisor, on that subject. But I have had access to the Secretary of State. It's my basic philosophy is that I don't volunteer advice. I've been in that position, and I know what it's like to. But I try to respond to questions when they're put to me.
Well, let me ask you a question. What should our message be to Russia and to Mr. Putin right now? And what should our strategy be?
Well, the situation has gone very far. And Russia is using military pressures which we cannot accept. And therefore, it is appropriate for us to insist that the military pressures cease.
The problem, he says, is to convince Putin it is better for both sides if Ukraine becomes a bridge between them rather than an outpost of either.
We need an outcome that does not make the West appear weak. And Russia needs an outcome that does not make it appear humiliated. Can one find a passage between this? We cannot permit a country to be dismembered, like Ukraine. But we should do it in a manner that keeps open the possibility that Russia joins an international system, rather than that it is put in a position where it feels totally outcast.
You know, rightly or wrongly, there seems to be a perception in various parts of the world that the United States is somehow withdrawing. Do you feel that? Do you hear that?
The fundamental public statements of the administration have emphasized more what we should not do than what we can achieve. And they have implied that a withdrawal of America from certain regions is actually beneficial to these regions. And I think the fear in the countries that I know, and that's very many of them, is that the United States is withdrawing. And the worry is not so much about American presence, it's about American absence.
As for the partisan divide in Washington on foreign policy, Kissinger believes America must always remain involved, must always play a role.
I would anyway prefer it if both parties had a comparable policy in that respect and disagreed mostly on tactics. We shouldn't tell the American people that there are two absolute solutions, because they aren't. We are in a historic process in which every part of the world is changing simultaneously. But it cannot change creatively without a major American contribution.
Dr. Kissinger's book goes on sale around the world this week. We'll be back in 1 minute.